Dragon Ball Super episode 130 is now officially in the history books as we make our way towards the final episode of Dragon Ball Super, that being episode 131, and joining me here today to talk about the final episode is my good friend EmoshIsLive, as there is so much to talk about as we invite you guys to share your thoughts and opinions as to what you guys believe is going to happen in the upcoming episode down in the comment section below. And of course, if you guys are new, hit that subscribe button for more information and of course updates for Dragon Ball. As Emosh, I want to welcome you back onto the channel, as we haven't done a prediction video in quite some time, but it's only fitting for me to talk to you about this because this is going to be, if anything, one of the most memorable moments in all of Dragon Ball, because it's finally over. Everything that we've been watching from July of 2015 up until this very point has reached its conclusion, and now we're gonna say our farewells at the very end in making a determination as to where this might go. Maybe we're gonna see the introduction of Goku meeting Oob, or they might go in an entirely different direction and closing the gap between Super and Z. But what I wanted to ask you is, following the events that we've seen with Dragon Ball Super episode 30, in which was one of the most shocking episodes I think in the entire community, what are your overall expectations now that we have Jiren, the strongest of Universe 11, having to fight not only Goku, who's pretty much rendered immobile by the side of the ring, but also having to fight Frieza, and the return of Android 17, which so many people in the community are just up in arms and saying, wow, you know, where was he this entire time? He's been, you know, in the ground for 3.5 minutes. People assume that he killed himself, but he's back in the flesh, and now he's going to be assisting Frieza in fighting Jiren. And the episode preview pretty much showcases a very, I would have to say, violent battle, because, I mean, the following fighters, Frieza, 17, and Jiren, really do look like they're going all in when attacking each other. So what I wanted to ask you is, how do you think this is all going to end? Because the spoilers pretty much indicated and told us that we were going to have some sort of like a climatic, you know, showcase with Goku having to drop out, and then Frieza having to death beam Jiren from behind. And it looks like the spoilers weren't entirely wrong, but they were wrong to the sense to where Frieza is the last one in the ring with Jiren, presumably. So what I wanted to ask you is, what are your overall thoughts as to who might win, if you believe that this is going to result in somebody definitively winning, that being either Goku somehow, Frieza, 17, or Jiren, or if you believe that there might be a different ending per se, as maybe we might have this entire fight, you know, result in the form of a draw, or maybe Universe 7 wins based on numbers. So what are your overall expectations as we go into episode 131, and overall, how did you feel about what you saw in Dragon Ball Super episode 130? Alright,
so first and foremost, the spoilers are just horrible. And I just want to open up by saying that. So for the people who don't necessarily listen to spoilers, kudos to you guys. I'm about to jump ship, because it's not just me showcasing any kind of salt or anything, because obviously the way the episode was, it was magnificent. Like this, it's really hard to criticize what happened in episode 130.
Yeah.
I think the whole 17 moment is kind of questionable, because it's like, well, he was confirmed to like self-destruct to some degree, right? The Grand Priest goes on to say, well, we assume he self-destructs, yada yada yada. And yet they made no effort to really like click the button to say, okay, he's eliminated. But yet in episode 110, when Goku blew up in the face of the Spirit Bomb, they were more than willing to potentially press his button on the Omnipad to confirm that he was eliminated. But with Android 17, he gets a 3.5 minute, 3-episode window, and then finally he pops up out of nowhere. Me personally, I think a lot of fans who became fans of 17, who were not fans of 17 originally, became fans of 17 because of what he did to rescue and save and protect Goku and Vegeta. He gave up on everything. And I do feel like clearly they're bringing him back because he's going to have some kind of relevance in the upcoming episode, hopefully. But I just feel like this episode overall, they really went balls to the wall when it came to like showcasing the fighting sequences, which is something that I really stressed on, because I felt like people, regardless of whatever happens, whether or not it makes sense, people want to see a solid fight between the two strongest mortals in the entire multiverse, right? Presumably as to what we know now.
Absolutely, yeah.
So with that in mind, I gotta say the fight was, I mean, we can't dispute the idea as to how great it was. It was movie quality, in my opinion. I think I like the dialogue between Jiren and Goku. As far as what's gonna happen next week, I personally think that next week may not be as hype as this week was, because you can kind of tell that they put a lot of effort into this episode, the fighting and everything. But going forward into next week, I feel like we're gonna see a little more fighting, a little more desperation on both accounts, because now Jiren has 30 seconds to eliminate them. Logically, he can do that. He can eliminate 17 and Frieza in 30 seconds.
Everyone's
he can
basically
one-shot Frieza.
broken down too, if you think about it.
Yeah, so, but I would wager that Jiren can still muster up some kind of strength, especially if he's still standing,
right?
Considering that he's been able to just continuously power up to even match UI Goku in some degree. Obviously, like he says at the end of the fight, he didn't want his fight to end this way. But it's clear that they're really trying to emphasize Jiren's character. I think next week, the episode title is Miraculous Conclusion, or something like that. Farewell Goku until we meet again. I feel like that has to do with not only the fan base's farewell, but more so Jiren's farewell to Goku as well. Mainly because they're really trying to emphasize some kind of change in Jiren. And we know anybody who's become a main opposition for Goku ends up changing. They even reference that in this episode. They talk about how some of us were enemies before, but now we're friends, and now here we are trusting Goku. And that's just the kind of guy Goku is. He draws everybody who's around him, he just draws them in closer. So the same thing is happening with Jiren. Even Jiren at the end said, listen, you will forever live on in my memories. So it's clear that the fighting between these two guys is such a different contrast. Jiren he's a lone warrior, he's a lone wolf, as to where Goku, even though he's carefree and selfless, to some degree, he still cares about the people that helped make him who he is today, and vice versa.
I don't know how you felt about that though. Like, because for me, after what he said to Goku about, I don't care about friends, I don't care about trust, strength is absolute, and I'll show you. And then he proceeded to attack the stands, which I think was different in his character, because that just solidifies his role of being not only very, very lonely as a person, but that's all he knows. He keeps dwelling on his past. Even Vegeta said Kakarot has triggered, you know, the emotional, past trauma, disturbance in him for, having to look back in his past and having to think about that. And as a result, since everyone was kept saying, especially when Krillin kept insinuating that Goku has always pushed through before, we see how Jiren let out that blast and he almost, potentially would have killed everybody. How did you feel about that moment when Jiren pretty much had like that change in character to where like he just said, you know what, I don't care about your teamwork, your friendship, I'm gonna do what needs to be done in order to win?
Well, I mean, you can argue whether or not he would have been disqualified, right? I mean, Frost got erased for attacking out of bounds. Yeah. And here we are, we have Jiren attacking inbounds out of bounds. So it's interesting. But aside from that, I liked it only because once again, it stresses the interaction between Goku and Vegeta. I mean, not Vegeta, Goku and Jiren especially. And when you think about it, right after that, Goku says, listen, I'm not a hero of justice or anything, but anybody who would hurt my friends, I won't forgive them. And he just goes batshit crazy. And it's not often we see Goku like that. And I think that's something that the fan base has been very hungry to see for quite some time. In the anime, when is Goku going to turn his shit up? When is Goku? What happened to the Goku who fought Frieza? What happened to the Goku who was fighting Buu? What happened to the Goku who was fighting Cell? Like, there was a moment of him being serious. And yes, even though Jiren was kicking his ass, but even in Ultra Instinct, when Goku clearly had the upper hand, it still didn't feel like Goku was like trying, even though he clearly was, if that makes any kind of a sense. But once we saw Goku say, I won't forgive you, and he charges at Jiren, and he just completely
almost broke his face with that punch.
Yeah, man, that was cool. Like, I think the fan base really needed to see that. And then towards the end, he second guesses it, but you could tell that Goku is trying to teach Jiren a lesson. Goku even believes, if Goku can listen, guys, I want you guys to understand this. If Goku can spare Frieza, if Goku can spare Vegeta, and even offer to spare Cell to a degree, so on and so forth, he can definitely get through to Jiren. Jiren, so, even though he's a lone warrior,
and I want to get into that afterwards, but go ahead.
Yeah. Even though he's a lone warrior, Jiren's not evil. He's just just a guy. He's not an evil guy. It's just he's just really messed up in the head. It's a very typical like shonen anime kind of a concept, a backstory. But this is why I said before, I don't know if I said it on a video with you or something like that, I really wish they would have given the fan base a chance to appreciate Jiren more, because right now they're really shoving Jiren's character development in our faces, in addition to Goku fighting him, right? And they're using Goku to change Jiren, which really hurts in a sense, because now the series is ending for now, and yet why are they making such a big emphasis to change Jiren if, one, they didn't really market him as much, unless it was the Goku and Jiren fight, right?
Yeah.
Outside of fighting, they didn't market him. And two, they really gave us his backstory that was extremely vague, and they gave it to us so late that it made it difficult to appreciate who he is as a character. I think Jiren has a lot of potential to be a character that people can relate to, if not like, and grow to like. Vegeta was also like that a long time ago. He was a lone warrior. He changed. Jiren is very similar to that, but yet we didn't get a chance to appreciate or get to know him. He was just this wall that was a really strong guy and stronger than Ultra Instinct, and it's just like now he's matching Ultra Instinct, and he's really pushed into a corner. So I like that concept of him trying to attack the bench. I don't think it was needed, but it showcases a level of desperation on Jiren's part, which kind of sets the stage for a massive change in terms of character development.
I loved the execution at the very end when Jiren told Goku, why don't you just finish me off already? And it looked like, I don't know how you felt about this. Even though I knew that Goku was going to attack him, I've seen lots of comments where people are like, holy crap, for a second, they thought he would have did to Jiren what he did to Cell, and that's give him some energy, or at least, you know, try to assist him in that matter.
I thought so too. Because the way they showcase,
right?
It's every time they do that, it's like, oh, it's the same thing he did to Roshi when Roshi almost died. It's the same thing he did to Frieza on Namek and stuff like that. It was very similar. It looked like Goku
I don't think he'd be that stupid to do that. I mean, well, even though it's Goku, at the same time, it's like when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. But then he was very serious in his demeanor when he was coming down with the attack. But then all of a sudden, I thought originally somebody attacked Goku from behind, and I thought it was gonna be Frieza. And as soon as he croaked down, and Jiren looked like he hesitated, as you said, because he told Goku, I don't want it to end like this. But it is what it is. He was able to do to Goku what Goku wasn't able to do to Jiren. And as soon as he went plummeting down, we see this force, this energy wave hit Goku, and then here comes Frieza. But then, to our surprise, we also see 17 in the background. So, how do you feel about 17 as a whole? Like, what do you think 17 is going to contribute in this fight? Because in the preview, it does look like he's pushing back the barrier, the attack with his barrier with Frieza. It looks like he's assisting Frieza with energy, and he's there. He's there. He's playing a role in being the assistant, you know, in trying to help everyone else, you know, just push Jiren back well enough to throw him out. But how important do you think he's going to be going into next week's episode?
I mean, there's no other reason to bring him back if he's not going to have some kind of, like, placement in what's to come. You know what I'm saying? Naturally. Like, so, and if they brought him back just for him to just milk an episode, the finale at that, and he just gets thrashed, and then you can tell that, they're just milking it out. They put everything they had into episode 130 and going into 131. It's just like, okay, see you guys in December. I hope that's not the case. And as far as 17 making a comeback, like I said, I don't think it was needed. I also originally felt like he didn't have to self-destruct. Especially if he could do the things that he's doing in episode 131, based on previews, he technically didn't need to self-destruct. But aside from that, I think they're really trying to showcase to Jiren now that he's alone, and Goku's immobile, that these two are willing to do what they can to preserve Goku, even if they play the whole. Thanks to you guys, I've managed to recover some stamina card. It's to really impact Jiren's perception of, wow, these two guys, even though they cannot beat me, they're fighting for Goku. Yeah, and once again, they're really trying to change Jiren's character and develop as a character, and they're using more than just one person. I feel like that's why 17 was brought back.
Especially Frieza, because he could be a testament to being the worst in coming back and trying to hunt Goku, Vegeta, having to destroy everybody, but then here he is fighting with them. You know, like, that's a testament as to how far Frieza's come as well, and maybe they can use that as an example, do you think? Well,
even the best of the worst of characters, like, for those guys who watch Batman and stuff like that, with the Joker and stuff like that, or any anime or just in real life, like, your perception of who you are changes the minute you're really backed into a wall, backed into a corner. Who you are it just changes drastically, because you're in a sense of desperation, and you're in an unfamiliar place, so naturally your character is going to change, and you're going to take drastic measures. Very similar, and that also explains what Jiren did when he tried to attack the stands. And by the way, it's not like the Angels couldn't have blocked it. So, but like I said, it's mainly to showcase that Goku, you know, he would protect them. He doesn't care. He will go up. He will go to the end of the earth, like to beyond his limits, to stand up for whatever he believes in. As to where Jiren is basically, you know, oh, I'm gonna do it my own. I do everything on my own. Goku to a degree is like that as well, but it's interesting to see how Jiren originally told Goku he seeks what lies beyond strength, and 17 basically kind of got into Jiren's head, and then it's like Jiren. It just seems like Jiren is fighting himself now. It's like he keeps saying it. Strength is absolute. Strength is everything. You lose everything if you lose. Winning means obtaining everything. I will never experience that pain again. So it's like, why do his actions and his statements and his dialogue contradict what he actually wants to achieve by using the Super Dragon Balls? Because he's gonna lose everything he achieved anyway if that's the case, to a degree. For example, let's say Jiren does make his wish, right? And he wishes for trust, or whatever the case is, like peace and for some kind of, like, or maybe he wants to forget everything that happened so that way he could live his life peacefully, whatever the case may be. You're gonna lose everything you worked for anyway, so why are you trying so hard to deny it? This is where you have to look at the writing board, the storyboard of the show. But like I said, I don't want to take away from the episode. That's not my intention. I think the episode was great. I think going into 131, we could see Super Shenron there. And the way they're making it seem is like it seems like Goku might put himself on the line, and that might also trigger a change in Jiren again, and the winner could definitively be Frieza or 17.
Well, speaking of the
think
winner,
that,
who do you think, in your opinion, is going to be the winner? Because it's by adding in 17, I don't think 17 would win. I think that he's just the element of surprise that was needed to throw the fandom off, but also kind of alludes to, as you said, the concept of teamwork, the concept of trust, because Universe 7 has that. Believe it or not, if you look at from the beginning of the tournament, as dysfunctional as they were working together really, really well. When somebody was down, somebody else would come up, even though it was very condescending. As an example, Frieza, Gohan, Vegeta, and Goku, everybody. Every single time there was a moment where somebody was in trouble, the other person would come in there and help. Whereas opposed to the only time we saw that from the Pride Troopers was with Kunchi and Dispo. That was it. So nobody was really there. I mean, and that also goes to show that as tightly knit as you are, being a Pride Trooper with your friends and people that you so-called trust, that same relationship isn't there as right. Is with Universe 7. And everybody from Universe 7 has beef with each other, or at least had beef with each other. They all fought each other. They all have, you know, a major history with each other. So to see that and going into this final episode, who do you think is going to emerge the winner in terms of like how they're going to pace this? Because for all we know, it could be Jiren. It really could. Or maybe, like you said, Goku might do something to sacrifice himself, or it could be Goku. But in your heart of hearts, what do you think would be the best case scenario for a winner and a worst case scenario for a winner?
All right, so logically, like based on general prediction what the fan base believes, Goku doesn't have an Ultra Instinct anymore, but that doesn't mean he still can't win, right? He's the face of Dragon Ball. In a sense, he kind of has to win, but at the same time, he doesn't. So that's why I kind of appreciate this whole feeling of not really knowing what's going to happen, which is good for the series. I think the ending should... I think this is how the ending should be, where people don't know what's going to happen. I think that's good. I think Goku naturally should win. However, I think that Frieza is also capable of winning. However, if Goku were to win, who's to say that Goku would not keep his promise to Frieza? So that's something to consider. I think 17 was brought back for him to take the W. I think that he's least likely to win, but I feel like there's no other reason why they would bring him back if he wasn't going to have a major placement, other than just, once again, allowing Goku to rest. I just don't see that being the case. Even though Goku in the preview does get back up, but it seems the way he's going towards Jiren is a desperation attempt. It doesn't seem like he's trying to attack Jiren, because he has no power left. He has nothing left. Yeah. So that's why I feel like he's going to end up sacrificing himself to a degree. Frieza could potentially do the same thing. I could see a definitive winner being, if it's from Universe 7, I'll play devil's advocate. I think 17 might take a W because they're really pushing him. But I also feel like if Goku were to sacrifice himself, or to some degree put himself on the line because he has nothing left, that's an effort to change Jiren's character overall. However, if Jiren could also win the tournament, but after seeing Goku sacrifice himself, and after everything that Goku pretty much taught Jiren recently, another possibility is that Jiren wishes for them to not be erased, or wishes something outside of what his own original wish was. Because listen, look, now, if he wants trust, if he wants to wish for that, and Goku has already taught him to do that, he has no use for the Super Dragon Balls anymore. So it only makes sense that Jiren would now do the right thing and do something on behalf of Goku, which kind of confirms the concept of miraculous conclusion until we meet again, meaning let's fight again on good terms this time. Meaning, I will improve myself as a character, you've taught me something, and I can't wait to fight you again. I think that's a good way to end the series, in my opinion. So I think, my definitive answer, Jiren will win, and his wish will not be his original wish, because Goku has already changed his character, and as such, Jiren will develop a respect for Goku, and that's why the Kaioshin and stuff like that are surprised as to what the wish is going to be. The Grand Priest is looking down at whoever, Super Shenron is there, and everybody's just flabbergasted. And even Belmont potentially be like, oh my god, I can't believe he wished for something else. And I think it's a win-win situation. I'm going to call right now, I think Jiren wins the tournament. He uses the wish to potentially not get Universe 7 erased. If anything, makes a greater wish so that maybe everybody else comes back. The same way the manga has kind of portrayed Jiren to a degree, where he does not want to be responsible for the destruction of everybody. Maybe they incorporate that as well. So bottom line is, Goku will impact Jiren in some way, shape, or form. Jiren will win the tournament, and Jiren will use the wish for something other than himself as a result of Goku changing his character. That's what I feel is going to happen. That's very interesting, because I think 17 is going to get dropped off. I think at some point 17 is going to get beat out of the ring, and thus leaving Goku and Frieza by themselves. And I think that in some fashion, Universe 7 is going to end up winning. I just don't know how exactly, because
if Frieza does end up winning, it's like, what could his wish be? Because everybody else seems like they already made up their minds as to what they want to do, or at least the wish being in good hands. Whereas Frieza, he's the only one to our knowledge that is very devious, very maniacal, and he would be the only person I would have to say that would make any wish that's outside of something being normal or fitting to the narrative of wishing the other universes back or wishing for peace or whatever. This guy would, for all we know, wish for the eradication of everything. So I think that in some fashion Goku's gonna get dropped out with Jiren perhaps, but at the end I could definitely see Frieza being the last one in the ring. Granted, he's been through a lot, but I mean, why would you have him be here up until this point and not execute him and his will? Because as of right now, we don't really know what he wants. Everybody else, you can kind of get like a gist as to what they want with the Dragon Balls. You know, Jiren's past, Goku potentially wishing everybody back, 17's boat. But what about Frieza? You know, like what does Frieza want? Does he want the death of Goku? Does he want the death of the gods? Like, what does he want? Eternal life? Yeah. So that's where I feel like, you know, it's most interesting. But this is the final prediction video that we're ever gonna make for Dragon Ball Super. So I wanted to personally thank you so much for just, you know, having to share your thoughts with me and having to talk about, you know, this show that we've been enjoying now since 2015 consecutively for almost about, I would say, like 2.5 years now. It's been a roller coaster. I mean, we had so many different opinions for so many different things. But as we close this video off for the final prediction video for episode 131, is there anything you want to say or any final thoughts before we go?
I agree with you. The show's been a roller coaster. It's been up and down. Didn't necessarily agree with everything that took place, but overall, it's not like we hated the show. You know, I think it's important that people understand that it's okay. It's because you love a show or because you love a franchise that you become extremely critical of it at times because you understand its history. You don't have to, you know, just take everything that they throw at you. It's okay to just have a different opinion every now and then, and that's totally fine. That's part of what makes a fandom a fandom. You know what I'm saying? So just because you're a fan of something doesn't necessarily mean you have to support it. Some of you guys might be fans of UnrealEntGaming, but does that mean you have to you agree with everything he says? Absolutely not. Same thing goes with me. So like I said, the show, it's been enjoyable. It's had its moments where I was just like, you know, WTF, what the hell, you know, what the heck is going on? But it's been a pleasure, and it's been great talking to so many people, meeting new people, and discussing the franchise with them. I look forward to doing more because the manga, you know, is getting exciting. The manga's, based on what we know, is going to continue after the tournament based on the news about the new movie and stuff like that. So there is still plenty left to talk about. There's a lot more, yeah. So the show is, the series is ending for now, but the franchise is still there. There's still plenty to do. Hopefully in May, there'll be a lot of things to cover as well. The whole event at Kamehacon, stuff like that, which, by the way, if you guys aren't planning to go, I would strongly advise that you do make the effort to. A lot of people are going to be there. It's going to be a great experience. I think it's personally something you shouldn't pass up. And it's going to be good. So with that, I want to say thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys whenever I talk to you guys, as always.
And like Emosh said, we're going to be at Kamehacon in case you guys don't know. So make sure you're following myself and Emosh on Twitter. I'll leave our Twitter handles down below. That way you guys can be notified whenever we post anything about Kamehacon or whatnot. So we want to thank you all so much for joining us on this wacky roller coaster adventure for Dragon Ball Super. The ups, the downs. I'm really excited to see how this is going to end. Hopefully it ends on a good note. Maybe, because they did tell us at the very end for us to stick on by and wait because they have a surprise. So maybe that's going to be alluding to the new film. Who knows? But once again, everybody, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, slap a like down below. If you guys are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Also subscribe to Emosh's channel. I will leave a link to him down in the description box below. Check his channel out as well, guys. Thank you all so much for watching once more, and we'll be seeing you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.